In the United States, a startling trend is emerging. As we glance back over the last few decades, we see a startling decline in the birth rate. Today, the average American woman is expected to have fewer than 2 children in her lifetime, a significant drop from the post-war years when the average was over 3. This decline isn't just a matter of personal choice or economic circumstances, it's a symptom of a deeper issue. A growing rift is forming in our society, a divide between men and women that's causing us to drift further apart, rather than coming together to build families and communities. This divide isn't just anecdotal, it's backed up by cold, hard facts. Surveys show that men and women are finding it increasingly difficult to communicate, understand, and respect each other. We're losing the ability to connect on a deep and meaningful level, to see past our differences and find common ground. And it's not just our relationships that are suffering. Our sense of community, our shared values, and the unique American culture that once united us are also being eroded. We're becoming more individualistic, more divided, more disconnected from each other. This isn't just a problem for us as individuals. It's a problem for our country. The United States was built on strong communities and shared values. It rose to become one of the most powerful nations in the world because of its ability to bring people together, to work towards a common goal. But as we drift further apart, we risk losing that strength. This isn't just about the declining birth rate, it's about the future of our nation. The nuclear family, the cornerstone of our society, is under threat. And as philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Our why is at risk, and it's time we start paying attention. These are not just numbers on a page, these are signs of a society in flux. As we move forward, we need to remember what brought us here and work to bridge the divide before it's too late. Our future depends on it. To understand the gravity of our situation, we need to dig into the root causes, the shift in cultural values, the erosion of the nuclear family, and the role of media in perpetuating these trends are key factors driving the current rift within our society. The American culture that once built the most formidable nation on earth seems to be fading into the annals of history. We've moved away from the principles that once underpinned our society. As philosopher Edmund Burke once said, "Society is indeed a contract. It becomes a partnership not only between those who are living, but between those who are living, those who are dead, and those who are to be born." Yet it seems we've forgotten this contract, this partnership. We've forsaken our responsibility to the past and the future, focusing only on the present. The nuclear family, once the cornerstone of our society, is eroding. The decline in birth rates is a testament to this. The values that held families together are being replaced with a more individualistic approach. This shift has profound implications, not only for our society, but also for the future of our nation. Media plays a significant role in this transformation. They often stir the pot, instigating rifts and driving us further down a path that could lead to our downfall. The narrative being pushed is one of division and discord rather than unity and common purpose. Immigration, while a vital part of our nation's history and growth, is also contributing to the changes we're witnessing. While it brings diversity and new perspectives, unchecked, it can also lead to a dilution of our core values and traditions. As the late historian Will Durant astutely observed, "A great civilization is not conquered from without until it has destroyed itself from within." We must heed these words. Our society is shifting, and not necessarily for the better. The effects of these changes are evident in our current societal landscape. We are witnessing an increasing rift between men and women, a divide that is being fueled by numerous factors. This rift is not merely a consequence of differing viewpoints, but a byproduct of the gradual erosion of traditional family structures and values. Our society today is an echo of the words of the great philosopher Plato, who once said, "The measure of a man is what he does with power." Our power as a society lies in our ability to foster unity and mutual respect, yet we seem to be wielding it to sow discord and discontent. The decline in birth rates in the United States is a stark symptom of these changes. The traditional family, once the cornerstone of American society, is losing its foothold. The nuclear family is being replaced by a myriad of alternative living arrangements. And while diversity in family structures is not inherently bad, the rapid pace of these changes raises concerns about the long-term implications on our society. This is not to say that change is always negative. However, it's important to remember the words of another wise philosopher, Confucius, who said, "Study the past if you would define the future." Our past, our values, and our traditions are what made us a strong nation. To disregard them completely is to risk losing our identity. Now, let's lightly touch on the subject of immigration. It's a complex issue, one that can be both a boon and a bane. On one hand, it brings in new perspectives and enriches our cultural tapestry. On the other, it can also intensify societal divisions if not handled with care and respect for all involved. We are at a crossroads, and the path we choose will shape our future. We must ask ourselves, are we willing to allow these artificial divisions to continue driving us apart? Or can we find a way to bridge these gaps, to celebrate our differences while still holding on to the values that bind us together? The choice is ours to make. The decisions we make today will determine the society we live in tomorrow. Imagine, if you will, a future where the current trends continue unabated. A future where the American birth rate continues to decline, where the rift between men and women grows ever wider, and where the values that once were the bedrock of our society are gradually eroded away. This is a future where the media continues to stoke the flames of division, and where the nuclear family, once the cornerstone of our nation, becomes increasingly rare. But this is just one possible future, and it's not a future we have to accept. As the philosopher Seneca once said, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The challenges we face are real, but the doomsday scenarios we conjure up in our minds are often far worse than any reality we might face. Now let's paint a different picture. Imagine a future where we recognize the artificial divisions that have been sown among us and choose to reject them. A future where we embrace the values that made our nation great and work to strengthen the bonds of family and community. A future where we celebrate our unique American culture, while also welcoming the contributions of those who come to our shores seeking a better life. This is a future where the media serves to inform and unite rather than divide. A future where the birth rate stabilizes not as a result of coercion or control, but because we have created a society where people want to raise families, where they feel secure and hopeful about the future. This is not some utopian dream. It is a future that is within our grasp if we choose to reach for it. As Thomas Edison once said, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. We have the power to shape our future. The decisions we make, the values we uphold, the way we treat each other. These are the things that will determine the society we live in tomorrow. The power to shape our future lies in our hands. We have the power to reverse these trends, but we must act now. In the words of the great philosopher Socrates, an unexamined life is not worth living. It's time we examine our lives, our society, and the path we're walking on. Each of us has a role to play in reversing these troubling trends. It's not about pointing fingers, but about joining hands and realizing that the divisions among us are artificial, strategically placed to create a rift. So how can we start? By understanding. Understanding that the things that seem to divide us are not as solid as they appear. They're built on misconceptions, on media narratives, on fear. By acknowledging this, we can begin to see through the fog that's been clouding our vision. Then comes communication. Communicate with your neighbor, your coworker, your family. Open dialogues about the issues we're facing, about the declining birth rate, about the loss of our unique culture. Break down the barriers that have been erected around these topics. The more we talk, the more we understand, the more we can work together to find solutions. Remember, as the renowned physicist Albert Einstein once said, the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. It's high time we change our thinking. It's high time we realize that the nuclear family, the cornerstone of our society, is under threat, and we need to protect it. And finally, action. Action can be as simple as educating oneself and others about the real issues at stake, or as complicated as advocating for policy change. But action is necessary. We have to actively work towards preserving the values and traditions that have made our nation strong. Each one of us is a piece of this grand puzzle, and when we come together, we can shape a picture of a brighter, more harmonious future. A future where our culture is not just preserved, but thrives. A future where the rift between men and women is healed. A future where our nation stands strong, undivided. Together, we can shape a brighter future. In conclusion, we are facing a significant societal shift. We've discussed the startling facts, the root causes, the current state, the possible futures, and the call to action. We're witnessing the decline of birth rates, the erosion of our unique American culture, and the increasing rift between men and women. But remember, the things that divide us are artificial. We need to recognize this, reverse the trend, and rebuild our nuclear family structure. Please like and subscribe. Together we can make a difference. And make a